All right, so we're going to talk about the online business blueprint. What this is it's the 6 realistic stages of online business growth. Simply put, we've worked with over 250 online businesses over the past few years, and we have seen it all. We've collected the patterns of success and the patterns of failure, and we've distilled it into, simply put, a blueprint. So, this is going to help you, number one, package up your years of expertise, your knowledge, your skill set, and monetize it through digital products and get paid extremely well for it. What that means is it's incredibly high profit margins. You'll see what I'm talking about later. Number two, we want you to create a more passive income stream so you can quote unquote semi retire on your own terms. And finally, we want you to impact way more people. That's what it's all about, impacting way more people than you ever could without having to do one on one services, one on one sales. It's just not exactly scalable. You'll see why. So, first and foremost, stop. Stop wasting months, years, or even decades of your life stuck in what we call learning land. What this means is we want to compress decades into days instead of you going out there and learning every new hack, trick, tactic, topic that you could. Well, we've done it for you. We've taken our years of learning from mentors, from other businesses, both competing and complementary. We package it all for you. So everything that we're going to be covering today in our workshop is the very same tactics, strategies, and tools that we use with our one-on-one done-for-you clients to bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars each month with their online courses, their programs, all on clockwork and on an autopilot. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of the blueprint and how it can rapidly transform your business, but first let me introduce the orchestrator behind all this, Daniel Pope, or me. Why my team and I are your go-to when it comes to scaling your business online. And like I mentioned before, we worked with over 250 online businesses over the past few years, ranging all the way up to about $30 million per year. With that being said, we've helped sell over $5 million in online courses and training for our clients profitably. You know, those $27 courses, $97 courses, $1,000 courses. Yep, that's us. We pull the, I guess you could call it the puppet strings behind all that. And honestly, it is so much fun. With that, my big claim to fame is I have impacted over 30,000 people so far using the unique framework, the Online Business Blueprint, you're about to discover today. And now my mission is to impact 1 million people over the next 5 years, hopefully starting with you. So let's get right down to it. The Online Business Blueprint, the 6 realistic stages to go from zero to making $100,000 months online and beyond. It's realistic, and I'm gonna show you how. So let's rock and roll. All right, so first what I wanna do is I wanna zoom out for a second and look at the Online Business Blueprint from a macro level. And as you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stages that are highlighted here, and they follow 24 plus month timeline. Okay, so the first stage here, I'll just breeze through these because we're about to dive in depth into each one in just a second here. First one is creation. This is where you're creating your product and service and transforming it into a highly attractive offer. Second stage, about a month later, this is validation. We quickly validate the new offer either through sales calls or sales presentations on the web or webinars. From there, around month 3 is when automation happens. So automation is where you're removing yourself from the one-on-one prospecting by setting up selling systems to capture leads on autopilot. We'll talk about that more later. Then around month 6 is acceleration. This is where you go from one-on-one prospecting to automating it to accelerating the process of turning the lead into a buyer using different selling systems. We'll talk about what those are later. Around month 12, 6 months after acceleration, is normally when we see people in optimization. This is where you optimize your business to where most of the selling activities are completely automated, on evergreen, or even outsourced. And then zooming forward, we have escalation starting around month 18. Simply put, this is scale, escalation. Your online business now is seen as a category king. You are in the scaling zone where you really just focus on being the captain of your ship, being the best CEO, wearing your captain's hat. So with that being said, this is the timeline. Now let's look at each individual piece on a more micro level. All right, creation, stage 1. A lot of times when I see people in creation, they're asking themselves questions like, how can I get people to buy my product or service? What should I be working on? Should I be building a website, a brand kit? Should I be working on my logo colors? Well, I tell you, no, you shouldn't be. You should be focused on how you create a minimum viable product or service, but I'm going to stick with the words products because we're talking about digital products here. How can I create that and turn it into something highly attractive, or what I call sexy? Highly attractive and sexy offer. Now, what that means is you're going to take your product, something MVP, right? And I can't tell you exactly what to create. There's other training for that. But you're going to apply different principles of marketing, just marketing fundamentals, and you're going to increase the perceived value to create a really attractive, sexy offer. So when you think about it, you want to input a guarantee. Hey, if after 30 days you don't see success, I'll work with you one on one. And if that doesn't work, I'll give you your money back. That's a no brainer for people. And maybe you can increase the urgency on it by saying, hey, this closes in 7 days. Or the scarcity, there's only 10 spots remaining, right? So you want to input different marketing fundamentals and principles to increase the perceived value so you make it attractive and sexy. So instead of saying, hey, buy my course on how to sell hats, it's how would you like to make an extra $20,000 a month utilizing this age old manufacturing process that 75% of the world could purchase, right? And all without having to, keep your own inventory in stock, all without having to learn how to do graphic design and whatever, right? I mean, I know that's a rough example, but instead of just a stale generic offer, you've turned it into something attractive. Now, there's more to it than that. And if I were to explain all about it, I mean, that would be an extra hour presentation. But unfortunately, we don't have time for that. I'm more than happy to spend time later, and there will be some opportunities for you to contact me and talk more about that. But the biggest challenges in creation is gathering the quality market research data. That is just a sterile term for getting feedback. Getting feedback from your people, from your past buyers, from your past clients, from your friends, from your social circle, from your network, from your social media audience. If you want to run ads to get feedback, cool, awesome, wonderful. But getting quality market research data. Second biggest challenge you're going to have is simplifying your process. And when we work with clients, when they're creating digital products from their knowledge and expertise, then they normally have a hard time seeing the label because they are inside of the jar. And so that's why it's so important to have third-party team come in and help them out because they're able to simplify it then. Or, well, we're able to, but they are. And then finally, finding the ways to increase the perceived value of your new offer. Okay? So when we're working with people in this stage, the average monthly revenue that we see, whether working with them or we see from our studies and consultations, is they're making anywhere between $1 to $1,000 during this time. This is sporadic sales. This is one-off. This is, oh my gosh, somebody purchased it. Hallelujah. Whatever that is, $1 to $1,000 on average. And of course, got to talk about timelines here. The average expected time to complete this step is a month, and how you graduate over to the next stage is you actually create your product, then you turn it into a simple, tangible, and believable offer. Simple, tangible, and believable. Let me repeat it again. Simple, tangible, and believable. What that means is you want to create something that people can get behind, people can sink their teeth into, and something that people actually believe is realistic that they can hit. So what that means is simple, you dumb it down, fifth grade language. Tangible, you put quantities. You put things like monetary values if you're in the how to make money online arena, or leads if you're trying to generate leads for XYZ, or just say, for example, sell your house in 10 days. And that moves us into believable. And believable is all about the believability or the realistic factor in it. And so I wouldn't say, hey, here's how you can make 100K in the next 2 days, all by sitting on your couch using your phone. That is not believable. I'm sure somebody out there would buy it just because they're desperate, but we do not want to be unethical with it. So once you've gone through stage one, creation, and once you've created your product and turn it into a highly attractive, sexy offer, then we move to stage two, validation. A lot of times people are asking themselves, how can I sell enough to create a livable income from this? A livable income. And as you can see here, the average monthly revenue that we're seeing people make in this stage is $1,000 to $5,000. Of course, results not guaranteed, but this is the average, right? This is the culmination of everybody that we've studied, we've worked with, and others that we see in the industry. So the average expected time to complete this stage, validation, validate the new attractive sexy offer, is about 3 months. Of course, it can be much quicker than that, but that's what we see on average due to just timelines and personal preferences and things like that. What do we do here? Well, we're going to quickly validate the new flagship offer either through one of two ways: sales calls or webinar presentations. And let me talk about those two. Sales calls, well, those are vehicles to bring in immediate revenue. And what do I mean by that? Well, you can pick up the phone right now and you can call Billy Bob down the street and say, hey man, I've got a new offer, do you want to buy it? Or you can call one of your past buyers or clients or customers and say, hey there, I've been cooking up a new offer. It's normally going to be $5,000. I'm doing a beta test for $500. Are you in? And they say, sure, great, perfect. So you have the ability to immediately generate revenue using sales calls. But the problem is not a lot of people want to do sales calls, the people that we work with. And that's okay. I get it. I personally, cold calling is my last resort. And luckily, I've been blessed enough where I've never had to cold call, but another story for another time. So I would rather work a little smarter. It might take a little longer, but I'd much rather do webinar presentations or web-based sales presentations, one to many. And all this is it follows a specific format and framework. I'm happy to talk through that later. But you're able to craft this presentation in such a way where you inspire, you detail out problems, you crush people's false beliefs around your new thing, and you offer an ethical and a compelling opportunity for them to purchase right then and there. Okay, like I said, I'm happy to talk through a webinar presentation later on another time, but that's the generalities of it. So in stage two, the biggest challenge is people get stuck here because they either get really stuck on the sales calls aspects and they don't, they get stuck in a rut and they don't know how to do a webinar presentation, or they just try to take forever on the webinar presentation. I mean, honestly, it's one of two things. And so if they get stuck on the sales presentations, then we kind of usher them into, hey, let's start creating the webinar. And vice versa with the webinar, we say, hey, take a little cool off time, maybe do a couple sales calls, or we walk them through it. Anyway, to successfully move over to the next stage, stage three, which we'll talk about in just a second, we like to sell at least the first 10. Why 10? Well, it's an even number. 10 is a good sample size of validation. If 10 people buy it and it's not your grandmother or your mother or your cousin Frankie, then we know that 10 different people have bought it, and that gives us kind of double thumbs up to say, great, we can move to the next stage. And so another thing that we want to do here is continue to strengthen the offer based on the feedback that we get from buyers or clients or non-buyers even. And the reason for that is this is a continuous process. It's a continuous process in marketing of test, analyze, iterate, and that's what it's all about. Marketing is not an exact science. There are standardizations to it, but the world we work in, it's an art form. Okay, so we've gone through stage one, creation. We've gone through stage two, validation. Now on to stage three, automation. This is when people are asking, how do I start to remove myself from the one-on-one prospecting and selling? And the reason for this is because the email list is the spinal cord, the backbone of everything that we do. If you have no leads, you have no sales. You have no sales, you have no business. If you have no business, well, go back to square one. But with the email list, we want to automate the influx of new leads. The email list is so potent. For example, if Facebook advertising or Google advertising or TikTok advertising or whatever advertising platform that you're on were to go down tomorrow, well, that'd be a dang shame. For a lot of businesses, they would crumble. But you, with your email list, could simply email them and say, hey, we're still in business. I'm doing a workshop next week. Hop on. You can either get sales calls from it or purchases from it, or et cetera, et cetera. Now, that's a oversimplified answer to that, and everybody's case is different, but the email list is so powerful. So we want to figure out ways to automate the influx of new leads, new emails into the system. And the way we do that is by setting up selling systems. We call them selling systems. You may have heard them as sales funnels, online sales funnels. Simply put, they're web pages with a specific purpose. They're not a brochure. They don't offer everything. We want to elicit a direct response from people when they're coming in, and we want to keep flowing them through our system. So with that being said, the average monthly revenue that we see here is between 5K to 15K. The reason for that is because we want to set up the system in such a way that we take leads in and we push them somewhere else as soon as possible. Whether that's to a webinar presentation, whether that's to book a call with you, or whether it's to do a combination of the things. And the average expected time to complete this step is about 3 months. The reason for that is because it takes a couple different iterations, or what we call split tests, to make sure that we're hitting our KPIs, our key performance indicators. Basically, is this page, is this thing, is this opt-in box, is this converting at a good enough point, a good enough rate, a good enough percentage where we feel comfortable signing off on it? And until we hit about a 30% opt-in rate, then we're going to keep iterating and testing until we do. Now, the biggest challenge here for our clients and those that we see right now is creating a quality freebie or a quality giveaway. Or you may have heard it like lead magnet. It's all the same thing. I mean, creating a quality freebie in the sense that this is something that people actually want. And if it's not, we pivot quickly. So a next challenge is setting up the list builder system. Of course, that's simply a page that says, hey, download my 12-step guide, enter your email here. I promise not to spam, rent, or sell your information. And that's something that we can, of course, help you with. I'm happy to talk more about that later. And then another thing here is trusting the process to dial in the lead flow. I've gotten asked before, hey, can we just skip this step? I don't need leads, I just want sales. And I say, well, I do kind of chuckle each time. And so I go into the conversation of, if you have no leads, you have no sales, you have no profits, you have no business, you have no etc. And I have to highlight that everything is built off the core foundation of an email list. Now, there's some other things back behind it, like brand, social presence, content, and stuff like that. But that's a conversation for another time. Everything that we do, direct response, online marketing, make you magic internet money, is built off of the email list. And as much as we can grow it, oh man. We know that for every subscriber, it's between $2.50 all the way up to about $15 per subscriber each time we send out a sequence or a series of emails. I want to put it that way. Okay, so to successfully move on from automation stage 3, the middle of the pack, then we need to create standalone systems that generate leads and build your email list on autopilot. And we want to do so at good cost, right? We want to spend $1 and acquire a lead and hopefully get them to buy from us and liquidate or remove that cost as fast as possible. Get us to break even or better, as I like to say. A lot of times if people are doing sales calls, then when we successfully move to the next stage, that means their calendar is maxed out. So what happens next? Well, moves us to stage 4, acceleration. This is simply where we accelerate the process of turning a lead into a buyer. We start to scale up the business, and that's what people are asking in this stage. How do I scale up as fast as possible? And in this stage, what we're focusing on is rapidly and consistently turning the leads into buyers using accelerated selling systems. So what this means is putting in place different selling systems or sales funnels, different offers, different products that then are turned into offers that we can use to monetize the list and remonetize the first-time buyers even further. And so we'll talk more about that in just a second, but the average monthly revenue in this stage is between 15K and 30K. This is our big goal that we want to get our clients to and that we consistently hit our KPIs with is, hey, we want to get you to making between 15K and 30K online at 60% profit margins or better. That means you've got a great livable income, you've replaced your any sort of 9 to 5, or you've created a new income or revenue pillar that is supplementary to your quote-unquote offline business. And the average time to complete this stage is about 6 months, give or take, a month for a margin of error. But in this stage, this is where we want to bridge the gap between your offers and create a congruent business ecosystem so that customers, clients, buyers can ascend naturally. I think about it like an escalator. You might have heard of the term value ladder. If you haven't, that's okay. It's simply a series of ascending offers. As they ascend in price, they ascend in value. And at the very tip top, you have your completely done for you one-on-one offer. And at the very bottom, you have your freebie. You give away basically for free, just in exchange for an email address. And in the middle, you might have your done for you self-paced course. There's value ladders for everything. I'm just using that because that's the example we eat, breathe, and sleep every single day. But instead of a ladder, I really like to think of it like an escalator. A ladder, the buyer or the client or the customer, they have to do manual work. They have to literally move their arm up, grab another rung, and pull themselves up. But an escalator, you hop on that bad boy and it's taking you places. So with that being said, some tangible things that we're doing here is we are monetizing the buyer further during their experience or a point of sale. So for example, if they're coming in on a list builder or lead magnet or freebie, like we talked about just in the previous stage, then as soon as they get that thing, we say, hey, would you like to add on a toolkit for 47 bucks? And well, not everybody's going to do it, but we expect 10% of the people to. So suddenly you have 10% of those people and just crank up the faucet at the very front and you're cranking out $47 sales like clockwork. Another thing we do is we introduce new complementary or auxiliary offers to what they've already bought. Hey, I noticed you just bought our course, or you just bought our Apple iPhone. Would you like to add on a pair of AirPods or Beats or get this screen protector? So we're creatively thinking through how do we increase the monetary value of a buyer, a customer, a client even further. So we start to accelerate the business. And in doing so, it starts to go at a rapid pace. I mean, we're getting into the fun spot here. And to successfully move to the next stage, what we want to do is we want to add in other quality sources of profitable traffic. And that means diversifying your traffic. I know we didn't speak too much about that, but if you want to learn more, then feel free to contact me. You'll see how to do that in just a second here. Diversify the traffic, get the front end funnels working at scale so you can turn up the heat, turn on the tap further, and consistently create and monetize first-time buyers further. So that moves us into stage 5, optimization. How does my business grow on autopilot without things breaking? This is the stage where people start to say, oh my gosh, I got to start creating a ton of new things. The business is breaking for some reason. When we're working with clients, this is the stage where they start to get hectic. And we have to have a lot of what we call come to Jesus moments with them. And that's okay because that is what we're in the business of. During this stage, we can expect for them to make between 30K to 100K months. And That's generally at a 60 to 70% profit margin as they're growing. Of course, they can reinvest it into the business. They can take out distributions, whatever they want to do with the profits, that's up to them. The average expected time to complete this stage is another 6 months. Like we just talked about with acceleration, this is another 6 months. So acceleration plus optimization normally takes about a year to go from 15K to 100K months. Sometimes it's shorter, but that's just what we see on average. During this stage, optimization, you are optimizing your business to where most of the selling activities are automated or outsourced. What does outsource mean with the selling activities? Well, that means you've outsourced it to a third-party sales team. If you want, you can bring an in-house salesperson in, but you've then got to train them up, you've got to manage them, you got to make sure the benefits are covered and all that fun stuff, or you could just bolt on to an existing company that is a sales agency. So with that being said, automated is where we want to focus. Automated. Everybody has heard of the pipe dream. Hey, I just set up some automated sales funnels. I just have, I'm living the laptop lifestyle. Well, that's nice and all, but where does it stop being a pipe dream and where does it become a reality? Well, it's in this stage because you have put in the work and it's what we consider a 2-year quote unquote overnight success. And so you've put in the work and the structures and systems and funnels are built to this point where you can automate it. You've got your presentations, you've got your funnels and systems so dialed in, we know exactly who we're talking to and who we're trying to sell to and what we're trying to sell them, so dialed in that it's a no-brainer to automate it. And what does automation mean? Well, that means that we go out there and we go and advertise or bring in traffic, push clicks, visitors, eyeballs, souls into a system, and for every dollar we spend, we push them through the system and out pops $2, $3, $5, $10, $15 over a span of 1 day, 3 days, 5 days, 30 days, 6 months, 2 years. And all that is that's the lifetime value of a buyer. So I talked about break even or better before, and that is something that I'm so adamant about. If we can create it going break even or better on the front end, then it's infinite scale. Everything after that is gravy. And that's a little quantifier called lifetime value. Anyway, more on that later. I could go down the rabbit hole with that. So the biggest challenge that we see people face in this stage is continuing to create quality advertising media and content at scale or continuously. A lot of times people don't want to slow down, but it's so important to slow down so that we can go faster. They constantly are trying to create or think up something new, and we have to sit there and say, hey, we've got to just rinse and repeat at this point in time. I know you as a creator want to create, it's natural, but you create content. We don't need you creating all these new ideas and new things because we've got a proven path forward, and it's okay, it's only natural. So we have to find a happy medium there. Create content, create media assets that we can use to advertise, and we will keep pumping it full of people. We're rolling. All right, so to successfully graduate, to successfully move on to the next stage, we want to create a congruent business ecosystems with these systems that can convert buyers into browsers. Convert browsers into buyers. Got a little tongue-tied there. Without the need for constant launches or one-off promotions. What does that mean? Well, let's make sure everything is on autopilot, evergreen, and automated. Which moves us into stage 6, the final, but most importantly, ongoing stage of escalation. Escalation. As I was putting this together, I was thinking, okay, what's the word for scale? Well, it's escalation. And that brings us back to the escalator analogy. So a lot of times we hear the question of, should I keep running this big online business or is it time to sell it or retire in some cases? Well, the answer is yes. It's completely up to you. We will support you in whatever you do, but it's up to your own desires. Anyway, the average monthly revenue at this point has crossed the 100K a month mark. We see people making 150K months, 300K months, 500K months, $1 million months, $10 million months. That's kind of the extent of it. But anyway, the average expected time to complete is ongoing. Like we talked about it, ongoing until you sign the paper that you've sold it, or until you've exited the business, or if you want to keep rocking and rolling inside of it, it's ongoing. This is where your business is seen as a category king. I took that from a mentor of mine, that phrase, and it's pretty self-explanatory. In your niche or industry or market segment, you are seen as a go-to authority. You are the go-to business or service provider for what you help with. The biggest challenge here is people letting go. And this is so important. It kind of bleeds back into the stage just previously, in the fact that we want people to wear their captain's hat, meaning get out of the boiler room of the ship. You don't need to be shoveling in coal. You don't need to be cleaning the bathrooms. You need to be up in the cockpit steering the ship, because that iceberg will come. I do not know when, and I do not know how big it is, but it will come. As every business has icebergs. So you need to carefully steer your ship around it and let your team manage the day-to-day operations, activities, and scale of the business. And it's so important to surround yourself with the best people. How do you do that? Well, that's where you lock arms with colleagues and competitors in your industry. And you lock arms and you find the best talent to fulfill the positions that you need. Of course, you can use Indeed, you can use sites like Upwork, but you really got to be focused on either finding a great strategic partner or a team that you can align yourself with to offload or outsource a chunk of activities, or you build an internal in-house team to fulfill those activities, marketing activities, customer satisfaction and customer service and fulfillment activities, graphic design, website design, strategic partnerships, selling. Just a few examples of the activities that you'll need to take off your plate. Because at the end of the day, if you're still trying to do your accounting and bookkeeping along with customer service, graphic design, amongst others, and you're making 100K plus months, we got to fix that fast. So to conclude here, to successfully move to the next stage, I said it was ongoing, but to really ascend to the high heavens, you want to maximize strategic partnerships. You want to find great joint ventures. You want to lock arms with complementary businesses that you can bolt your business onto to maximize your total adjustable market, to maximize your buyer base, your email list, to maximize your lead flow and customer count, maximizing your lifetime value of a buyer around every turn, maximizing the amount that they pay you in a specific point of sale, and decreasing the amount that it costs to acquire a buyer, a lead, a customer, a client. So all in all, the 6 realistic stages of business growth to go from literally zero to making 100K months. No, it is not overnight. And anybody that tells you they can do it in 30 days or less using one simple organic strategy without any paid ads, funnels, or blah, 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 unfortunately, that's a one-off hack or a trick, and it will not get you far. It might get you 100K month one time, but I promise you, I've seen it all, and there are patterns to it. And it really has to rely on fundamentals, creating a strong foundation, building your business on solid rock. So with that being said, one last thing before I leave you, and then we'll be on our way. All right. So that was a lot, wasn't it? I know it's a lot because it took me 5 years of distilling down the information, the trials and successes and failures into that blueprint. But you may still be wondering, you may still be thinking, Daniel, can I sell this without hopping on a bunch of sales calls or messaging, cold DMing a bunch of people? Daniel, is there a way to automate all this? I really don't want to set up any ads, funnels, or tech stuff. And how much could I realistically make with this online business thing over the next 12 months? Well, the answer is it depends. You probably saw that one coming, but it all depends on your unique situation. See, it depends on your income goals, your time availability, or your schedule, your budget, your email list size, your social media audiences, and really so much more. What we call profit predictors. Everybody has different ones. Everybody has a unique business. Everybody's in a unique situation. So we need to craft something custom. And since that situation is completely different than anyone else's, we're here to help. Of course, we're here to help create a game plan for you. That is why we're a done-for-you company. And we go by the saying, you can't see the label from inside of the jar. There's another saying that I like to use sometimes too. You can't see the picture from inside of the frame. And far too often, we get too close to our business. I, for one, am victim to this sometimes. But a lot of times when working with clients, we uncover the hidden in plain sights, fixes, strategies, improvements that can bring in an extra 5K, 500K, 5 million over the next 6, 12, 24, 36 months. So real fast, here's exactly how we help our clients. Here's what we do pretty much every single day. Number one, we provide strategy. We analyze businesses inside and out. We develop 12-month, 24-month, 36-month growth plans and game plans. We call them roadmaps. So you can get unstuck and start consistently making, well, a lot of money. Not going to sugarcoat it. Number two, systems. We design and set up and take care of all the marketing systems. We write all the sales copy. We write and schedule all the emails for you. Make sure that it's dialed in to make the most money at the highest profit margins, all completely done for you. What does that mean? That means you don't have to fiddle around and learn and try to figure out all the marketing and tech stuff. We take care of it for you. All we ask is that you put on your captain's hat and steer the ship. We'll talk more about that later. And finally, number three, support. We become your long-term growth advisor as we help you get hundreds of new customers each month and long-term each day. Become known in your niche. Look at that, be known. All without burning money on ads. And that is where our competition differs from us. See, our competition, they come in and they start focusing on ads on day one. That is not the solution. That is a short-term band-aid that may bring in short-term results, long-term results. It's a coin toss-up. But we need to focus on a holistic strategy. Implement the systems, the selling systems that support that strategy, and then provide support, flowing in traffic, flowing in new people into the system that we know without a shadow of a doubt works. And that's how we get it done. So we want to start mapping out everything you need to make consistent money online. And how are we going to do that? Well, I personally want to review the quote-unquote state of your business and outline a custom-tailored growth plan. I want to show you exactly what you need to start making consistent 15K, 50K, 100K months and beyond. We've got it mapped out. You saw it from the blueprint. You saw the graphic design version. You saw the timeline. This is my internal spreadsheet that I work off of. We've got all the processes, the frameworks, the blueprint, the systems, the templates, the tools, the tactics, and everything that you need to scale a business online. And we do this every single day. We eat, breathe, and sleep it, and we are so passionate about it. But with that being said, we also have success. We've got track records of success. We're not we started up yesterday. We're not some fly-by-night company. No, we've got more case studies than you could ever want. We've got people singing our praises on testimonials. You can see that in some of the pages here, but I'm also happy to provide more of that info if you just reach out. So we're going to personally outline a custom-tailored growth plan using our blueprint, the master framework, all for you, done for you at absolutely no cost. So here's what you're going to do next. All you have to do is go to www.beknowntoday.com/chat. That is BEKNOWN today.com/chat. On that page, you're going to see an area to schedule a call with us. You're going to pick your time that works for you. You're going to hop on a 45-minute chat with us. We're going to review everything that we need, the profit predictors inside and out, the state of your business. We're going to come back with a solution. And if we can't provide a solution, we'll refer you to somebody who can. That is my absolute guarantee to you. So at the very least, you're going to walk away with something of value. And just tell us that you were on today's presentation. We'll take it from there. But if you have any questions, you can reach out directly to me at hello@beknowntoday.com. Hello there. Otherwise, I am looking forward to your success. I appreciate you spending some time with me today. If you have any questions, reach out. Otherwise, I cannot wait to talk. We'll get rocking and rolling. Take care. We'll talk soon.